Hey everybody, welcome back. So if you watched my Chroma Drama mini-series where I touched on the narcissism that I think's involved in these cases of Cash Gurnan and Summer Wells, and you can even go back and say the Chris Watts case, that one went chaotic, dramatic, histrionic. It's still being talked about, picked apart, dramatised, sensationalised. There's no end to it. There's streams every single day still about Chris Watts. The little cowboys from California City, the Orrin and Orson West, Sincere and, oh, I'm going to forget the second name. I feel terrible now, right? The little West boys from California City. There was the same drama surrounding that. They were making mistakes with identities, accusing people of being possibly the adopted parent when she wasn't. I mean, they turned up to a house. If you go and watch some of the videos about that, I mean, it ended up on the news. It got covered on the news a couple of times about YouTubers being involved in true crime cases, present to date cases. Now there's the question of the reward money. Okay, for me personally, I do see certain creators driven purely because of that reward money. It's about the reward money. It's about getting to the reward money. They don't care what kind of drama or histrionics or fuckery they stir up. It's about getting that reward money for those cases. The drama involved, for me, I think is disgusting. I think it is the last thing true crime needs. I don't even believe it to be true crime. It's more like it's crama. It's a cross between drama and crime. I don't personally believe the two go together. One is toxic and one is serious and heartfelt and emotional, and there's real people involved who are suffering a trauma, having a child go missing, being accused of anything to do with that child going missing, and having it talked about all over social media. How is that not a trauma if you're innocent, right? Because there's been cases I've covered myself personally in the past, not covered as in, I should say followed rather, right? And I can remember this guy, and it really looked like it was this guy, okay? Had to be this guy. It was him. He had a history of the crime that this case was about, SA. He'd just been let out of prison, just been released. He was in the same area. He didn't have an alibi, all the rest of it, right? And the police believed it to be him. Everything looked like it was going to be him. The DNA came back though, and it actually wasn't him. But every single thing pointed towards it being him. And that case alone, I wish I could remember which one it was, because that taught me, that case, that a certain set of situations can happen around us at any time, wherever we are, right? And something can happen and it could look like it was us when it genuinely wasn't us. So for me, I appreciate that, yeah, suspicion can lean towards certain people or by their behaviour, obviously, the micro expressions, the things they say, the things they don't say. I'm down with all that behavioural psychology analysis stuff, right? I'm down with it all. But you have to be open to the idea of being incorrect. And as you're going along the case and having your suspicions leading to certain people involved in the case, like family members perhaps, you always need to leave that tiny bit of leeway that you could actually be wrong, right? I won't get into the Chris McDonough stuff, but his story alone tells you that you really can be wrong. And he was, you know, allegedly, or is, an expert on that kind of thing. And yet he was wrong with that child that got put away and interviewed and all the rest of that, right? So this Summer Wells case, and I do sincerely pray that somehow, some way, she's found safe, right? Cash Gurnan, that was just, it was like watching a horror film, being able to see the moment that happens however many times a day around the world where a child is taken, and being able to see that happen. I don't think I'll ever forget that video, right? A dreadful case. I don't think I'll ever forget that case, or that little boy, right? Or his brother, right? I'll always, probably throughout the years, wonder about that brother and how he is. Which leads me to the way the families are treated, right? Cash Gernon's grandmother, the way that she's been treated, the way that all the family have been treated, the things that they were saying about the mum. She's a truck driver, she's a drinker, she didn't want the kids anyway. He had full custody of the twins. Like, there's no respect, no composure, no patience, no self-control, right? So I have made a few notes just to talk about, because we're going to talk about these cases, Summer Wells, and the coverage that they're getting, because the coverage that they're getting, I don't think is, this isn't about pushing her name out there. This is personal. People have agendas, right, of wanting to uncover family secrets or family history and have it somehow lead them to an answer to discover where and what happened to Summer Wells, right? And the way they're going about it, they are absolutely reckless. They are destroying family reputations. They are destroying ties between families and friends and community members, as in like the Cash Gernon thing. They had neighbours on. They were talking to other family members or people that knew them or that used to date them years ago, right? I mean, what did that do? How did that help the Cash Gernon case? How was that helping the police officers with anything to do with Darian, the guy that did it, right? They knew who did it. So all of that drama and all that chaos and all the histrionic sensationalising, what did it actually do for the case? The only thing it did, if you look back at the aftermath of all of that, is damage those people and increase the trauma that they went through. What healthy person with a conscience can do and continue to do things like this? For me personally, all of this with Summer Wells and Cash Gernon, even Chris Watts, the way that MGL handled that case, the way she spoke about Shanann and the children, absolutely abhorrent, right? So we have this situation now. We have it with the West Boys. We had it with the Chris Watts case. We've got it with Cash Gernon and Summer Wells. And each case has the same thing in common. The same thing. There is a cluster of narcissistic personalities right at the top of all of this drama and histrionics and sensationalism. They're the ones creating it. Every day there has to be something to go live about or make a video about or fucking dissect. But it's nothing of any relevance. And for me, it's about keeping people emotionally hyped up, right? And I want you to think about this seriously, right? Take me seriously. How wired up and emotional do you feel while you're following these live streams and watching these videos constantly, consistently, every single day about these children, right? You will experience a burnout at some period if you haven't already, right? Healthy people aren't constantly having huge emotional reactions up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Oh my God, the case is so bad. Oh my God, what happened? Oh my God, is that what they did? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God, right? You're hyping yourself up, kickstarting the adrenaline, the cortisol, the stress hormones and all of that, the endorphins, you get in a rush, right? And at that point is when it becomes dramatic and histrionic and over the top, right? Cases, I believe, right? And these are only my thoughts, my perspective, my opinion. Nobody has to agree. Nobody, you know, you're free to debate in the comments. You're free to disagree. I'll leave your comment there. It's completely fine. Thumbs me up, thumbs me down. Either is fine. Just consider subscribing if you would, right? So I'm just going to go through some notes that I made. Covering or I've been thinking about these cases and observing the behaviour and the coverage that they're getting by the people that are covering them, right? So for me, true crime requires sensitivity, ethics, morals, keeping to good morals, right? Keeping a good code of conduct, right? Because if you're going to be dealing with families or you're going to be wanting to ask them questions, or get them to talk to you, you want to reassure them and give them some confidence that you are a person that they can trust, right? You aren't going to be trying to emotionally connect with them and have you feel familiar with them so they open up and tell you a whole load of secrets and then you go live and disclose all of it, right? That's not the behaviour there should be around these kind of cases. You are damaging real people, causing trauma and upset on top. and stress on top of what they're already going through. It's absolutely sick. I don't know how people don't see it. I don't know how people don't see it. Right, so you want somebody that's got a good code of conduct, right? Somebody that has a good sense of discernment, right? That can discern things rather than judge things, right? Because there's a difference. Judging would be, look at that fat cow over there. Who the fuck does she think she is, right? That would be judging. Discerning would be something like, let me pull something up, right? Because my memory is whack. Discerning would be, I feel like that person is holding something back. They don't want to talk. I feel like they're a good person, but they're afraid to talk. Something like that, right? Discernment and judging are completely two different things. The cases that I see, each individual member surrounding the family or in the community, even the church involved with Summer Wells, like, it's not discerning anything. They're just judging. They're judging the home life, the way the children were running around, this, whatever, and the other, right? Fair enough, have your opinions, but how is any of that, the dramatics and the emotional upset about the state of the house and how they lived, how is any of that going to help find Summer? Like, I heard Tiffany Marie on a clip I've just uploaded, rocketing the grandmother. What was she rocketing her for? Because she won't speak on social media. And she said, you know, I don't want to get any backlash. And then after that, she's spoken to somebody privately in DMs, and that person with a channel, right, released the DMs, stirred up a whole load more of emotional drama. So can you see the pattern? Everything's about stimulating the audience's emotional feelings, right? They're not displaying facts and keeping it straight and on point. It's all about huge emotional overreactions to everything. It's not healthy. And when you've got behaviours like this showing up, guaranteed there's toxicity involved. There is narcissism involved. It's narcissistic behaviour. All this constant dramatics is narcissistic behaviour. It isn't somebody balanced. It isn't somebody well put together, patient, somebody that follows ethics and morals and has a good sense or a good idea of what is right or wrong. Because in these cases, the line is overstepped every single time. The way that they harass and re-traumatise the families involved with these children, either murdered tragically or they're still missing. There was again with Xavier Harrelson, the way that the Life Perplexed was talking about his mum and threatening to show up to have a fight or whatever it was, saying negative stuff about her. Like, they're not keeping to the facts. They're sensationalizing behaviors, right? Feeding off it all, right? Like emotional vampires. It's constant emotional drama stirred up to keep people sucked in. And the problem is, when somebody keeps stimulating our emotions in that way, right, it resyncs our brain chemistry to match what we're dealing with, right? So like with an abusive partner, they will supply you with a whole load of attention to stimulate your emotions, right? And get you hyped up, love bombed and idealized, and you're walking on cloud 9. And then suddenly they will take all that emotion away. They will withhold it. They will give you the cold shoulder, the silent treatment, the stonewalling answers, right? And you'll be upset, wondering what you did wrong, because they've just removed that emotion. So on top of the confusion and the ruminating that it triggers in the mind, right, it begins an addiction, a trauma bond to this toxic person. So when after they go for their 2 or 3 weeks of ignoring you, when they come back and you make up and the love bombing starts again, the nice words, right, the kind deeds that they may do for you, all the affection and all the love that they start to display again, right, your brain starts getting the rushes again of dopamine, oxytocin and all the feel-good hormones. And then the narcissist or the abuser or the toxic person that you're in a relationship with, again, they will withhold that emotion, right? And over a period of time, that pattern syncs your brain chemistry with theirs, right? Because they're constantly giving the emotion and then pulling it away. So when they're away and they've gone dark and you can't get hold of them, they're ignoring you, ghosting you, blanking you, right? You become low because your mind, right, is now dependent on feeling lifted and good on that person love bombing you, right? And these cases, for me, it's like the same kind of, in a different way, it's like the same kind of science taking place. They're emotionally drawing people and attaching them to the case and keeping them, right, which then keeps them almost addicted to keep coming back, to revisit the hype, the histrionics, what's happened, oh my God, and all the overreactions, right? They come back and they're doing the same thing. And then when they're away, right, on their own, they probably feel low. They will experience a burnout at some point. You cannot keep entertaining or visiting these types of streams, in my humble opinion, and being hyped up out of your mind, right? And it's all believed to be because we care about this child, right? We can still care about this child, but remain calm and grounded, right? And sensible. There's no sensibleness in any of this case. It's constantly to working people up, right, with the titles, right? This happened today with Summer Wells. This happened today with Cash Gernon. Come and see, must see interview. Family member speaks. Where is Don, right? All this is all to stir people up with the title so that you go, right? You hit the button. You need to see it now. What's happened now, right? And it becomes, right, I call it the trauma bonds of YouTube, and the drama community works in the same way. And this drama that I've been observing, I believe works in the same way as well, right? The histrionics, the dramatics, the over emotional responses are toxic for the audience, being sucked in and believing that we're all here together because we care about a missing child. No, you're not all there together because you care about a missing child. You're all there together because you're all feeding off each other, hyping each other up, right? It's like you're all filling up off each other's reactions and emotions. Watching it from a distance, in my humble opinion, it is toxic as hell. Toxic as hell. It is full of people pleaser types, codependent types, right? That don't see or have any idea about emotional manipulation and fuckery. And then you've got another part of it where it's just toxic, narcissistic people needing the attention and using and exploiting child murder or cases of children going missing to get that attention. That's what it's about. Pulling people in and keeping them emotionally invested in these cases. So they keep coming back and then they tell other people and they keep coming back. It is toxic as hell. Nobody healthy is behaving that way while covering the case of a missing child. I'll never believe it. So again, you want somebody, right, with a good sense of discernment and someone who keeps healthy boundaries. Boundaries are important. All of this case is boundaryless, and that is demonstrated by the dropping of DMs, right? The things that are talked about, some of the discussions that are going on about things that aren't anything to do with Summer Wells. The humiliating and shaming the family members, for example, calling them out, having a go at them shamelessly because they don't want to come on social media. If you looked at your behaviour, you'd probably see why they don't want to come on social media. I certainly wouldn't go to any of those lot if I had a missing child. I would not go to those lot. You do not need those lot to put the word out. The only thing they're about is investigating and dissecting tiny little details to keep people emotionally invested and following this case along and have them believe as though they're doing something worthwhile. Nobody's doing anything worthwhile. All they are doing is hurting people, right? Re-traumatizing people. Fair enough, you can have suspicion that certain people were involved or family members were involved. Is it necessary, though, to keep sensationalising it day after day after day, keeping people hyped up, over-talking about it, going back over details that have already been gone over, re-dissecting things, just keeping people churned up and emotionally attached to the case? That's what it is, in my humble opinion. And again, you want somebody with good self-control. The people that I've seen Tiffany Marie screaming and shouting, and MGL and the way that she's treated families, the things that she said about families, right? There is no self-control. These people do not have self-control at all. None of it. Where do you see genuine humility, patience, or balance, right? Nowhere. They sensationalise things, right? They harassed Cash Gernon's grandma. They harassed Summer Wells' grandparent. They've harassed her, talking about her, humiliating her, coming out with all kinds of stuff. And it's all okay. It's all okay because there's a child missing. We can do what the fuck we like to these family members because at the end of the day, there's a child missing. And in our minds, in our screwed up minds, to us, this is us helping recover this child, right? This is us helping recover this child. If anything, if somebody had that child, if somebody has that child and they're witnessing all this fuckery on social media, right? The only thing they'll be getting is a giant kick and thrill of the chaos and fuckery that they've managed to create by taking that child. That's all the person who has her, who's taken her, will get from watching this case and observing how it's being covered. You'll be fueling a narcissistic, abusive piece of shit, because that's clearly what they are, whoever's taken her, right? I don't believe they've taken her for good, right? Because you take the boys as well. They took the girl, singled the girl out, right? A narcissistic, abusive psychopath. And he or she will be having the biggest thrill of their life watching this blow up, right? The same way I know Chris Watts will be having the same kind of thrill. They'll love it. They'll love it. Nobody can stop talking about it, and it's all because of that person. All you're doing is fueling that person, whoever they are, right? And I bet they feel amazing. Absolutely amazing, because just by taking this child, they managed to stir up and keep all this fuckery and drama going. It's sick. Absolutely sick. They're not help. None of this is helping the case. All it is feeding the abusive piece of shit that has taken her. That's all it's doing. Right, crime typically does generate emotion, okay? It's a sensitive topic. Codependent types of people, like people pleasers, I consider myself like a codependent in recovery. Us type of people, we feel first instead of think first, right? So if you look at some of the people that are following this case or covering it, they are very emotional first rather than thinking. It's huge emotional reactions to everything. Where do you see a balanced conversation, talking calmly and covering it in a balanced fashion? Where? If it's not screaming and shouting, it's humiliating, taunting and embarrassing, mocking, mimicking, ridiculing family members. That isn't helping any case find. It's not helping to find Summer. If anything, you would be hurting that girl the way that you're destroying her family and attacking them and doing all the things that you're doing, dropping their DMs and humiliating them. If she was to come back, God willing, right? You've destroyed a family. You really think that she's going to look back on this or something and think, oh, wow, those people really tried to help? You're delusional. Absolutely delusional. It is an absolute cluster of toxicity and narcissistic behaviour, in my opinion. This is not me calling or diagnosing narcissists, right? Narcissistic behaviour is clear, so is healthy behaviour, right? We all know that healthy behaviour is calm, balanced, there's humility, right? There's self-acceptance. Typically, we're peaceful people, right? Where do you see peaceful humility, self-control in this case? Where? Everybody is about overreactions and over-dramatising absolutely everything. Discussing Summer Wells, nobody keeps any boundaries. They just plough through them. Anything and everything is okay because at the end of the day, it's about finding Summer Wells. So that excuses all of our toxic behaviour. It excuses the way we treat people or speak to the family members. None of it matters because in our minds, at the end of the day, it's about finding Summer Wells. Delusional. Delusional. I remember with the Cash Gernon one, actually, right? MGL and Tiffany Marie, they were saying, oh, we haven't slept for 12 days. We've been on this for 12 days. I'm so knackered. We haven't slept, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember thinking, clearly you don't keep boundaries then. You get attached and addicted to something, right, that's caught your interest and you can't let it go. You fixate on it. You over-fixate on it and become over-emotionally invested in it to the point that it starts to take over your real life and affects your sleeping pattern. Does that demonstrate to anybody somebody that can keep boundaries, right? If you can't keep healthy boundaries covering a case of a missing child or a murdered child, should you be on the case? Not in my opinion, you shouldn't. And I don't care how many subscribers or how many viewers, right, watch her and think she's doing a good thing. Me over here on my tiny channel, this is just my tiny opinion. This is how I see it. It's my perception. I have watched it for long enough, right? And now I need to say something about it. And I am doing. It's as simple as that. It's not about hating her, disliking her, being jealous of her or anything like that. I personally find it disgusting. And if I, God forbid, ever had something happen to a family member where I needed to use social media to get the word out, those types of people would be off my list. The way that MGL has disgraced the grandmother of Cash Gernan and the things that she has said. She was calling her live in front of hundreds of people on her channel, right? Leaving voicemail after voicemail, going on and on and on at her, right? Now, there's a clear example of somebody that can't keep boundaries, right? You're going through to answer machine. They're not responding to you. They don't want to talk to you. And rather than just leave it alone and think, you know what, I'm just going to stop. They don't want to talk to me, right? No, we have to start leaving messages. More than one. We have to keep ringing and ringing and ringing somebody. How does that demonstrate somebody to you with healthy boundaries? Anywhere to keep calling someone. How is that showing healthy boundaries or self-control? Or somebody that's got emotional boundaries that can keep themselves in check, right? No, there has to be the grandstanding and the posturing. We're trying to help these children and look at how we're treated. All of that. It's a delusion. An absolute delusion. They worked on it 12 days. Worked on it doing what? More like you were absorbed in it and you wanted to follow every tiny detail about it, right? That's on you. But that shows that you don't keep healthy boundaries, period, right? That because you put 12 days into it, that doesn't mean that you know, it's always like there's an overstatement. I have to grandstand about how much I care about this child. I care about this missing child more than anybody else. I care what happens to that that murdered child's brother more than anybody else, right? I care more than anybody else. It's me that cares most about Summer Wells. It's me, right? Again, with the emotional boundaries. There's no emotional distance, right? I don't care what child goes missing. I feel a pull, right? And I am emotionally concerned, right? But I can keep boundaries. I can keep healthy boundaries that will stop me getting too invested, right? To the point that I'm acting dramatic, histrionic, I'm being aggressive and rude, screaming and shouting, calling people out because they share a different opinion, right? I can keep myself in check, right? These people that are covering these cases, Summer Wells and Cash Gernan, right? Where is the self-control? I can't believe that people think that this type of behaviour, and this is my thing again with social media and narcissism, right? Social media fuels narcissistic behaviour. It encourages it. You have got a load of good people over there following this case, right? I'm sure of that, right? But they don't see in front of them the narcissistic behaviour that's being displayed. Instead, they believe that rather than observing the behaviour and seeing how things are, because words and behaviour should match, right? So if somebody's saying, I really care about this child, I really care about this child, and then they're destroying a family member or belittling them and ridiculing them because they choose not to talk on social media, anyone can see, you know, I don't blame them for not wanting to go down that path the way that they've done, right? Examining every post and all the rest of it, right? Where's the balance? Where does she show the balance with that grandparent to just be, do you know what? I understand that they probably don't want to speak. This has got kind of out of control. All the fuss and attention and how many people are following it and how many videos are made every single day. Fair enough. The shitty things that have happened to other family members or other people that have been said when they've come out and tried to speak to social media or give an interview. The things that have happened, I can objectively understand why this person doesn't want to talk on social media. Not Tiffany Marie, no. She's not happy because the person won't do what she wants them to do. She is that consumed with this case. She believes in her mind that all the way over there in a different state to where this is going on, she's going to solve this case because she is the person that loves this child more than anybody else. And if that is not a screaming red flag to anybody, I don't know what is. Every single one of us feel and have probably prayed, I know I have, that this child is found, right? There's loads of people following it, wanting to, hoping every single day that there's going to be a video or a press release from the police saying, we figured out what happened, we found her, right? Dead or alive, we found her. That's all we all want, right? But where is the self-control, again, and the self-discipline? And the self-introspection to be able to see, do you know what I'm doing is not all right. The way I'm treating people that are going through a trauma, right? And this trauma will last with these people, that whatever it is they're going through, all different, I'm not just specifically talking about the Summerwells family, right, but other children that are being covered, this trauma will stay with them for the rest of their life. And you do have to be open to the idea that somebody can look 100% guilty and be innocent. You can have done something and been somewhere at the wrong time and it looked like you did whatever that crime was. You have to be open to the idea that you're wrong, your discernment is wrong, right? You have to be open to that. You can't keep just going at people and nailing and harassing them and accusing them and saying, you've got some involvement with this child's disappearance, I know it. It's not like they're just saying it to a friend, right? Or just saying it in a comment section. There's something shifty about this case. I wonder about the mum, or I wonder about the dad, right? They have absolutely dehumanised these parents, right? And scrutinised. They've scrutinised them down to the toenails. It's disgusting to me. To me it is. So again, there's no emotional boundaries. It's all about over-emotional reactions. I love Summerwells the most. I'm the one most consumed with this case and the one most obsessed with finding her. I care about her more. It's me that cares about her more. Look, I'm showing you by how many videos and how much I'm talking about it. There's an overstatement there to present the idea of how much I care, right? It isn't real. These aren't the behaviours, in my humble opinion, of a healthy human being. I don't find this healthy human behaviour at all. It is toxic. It is narcissistic. It's disgusting. They are absolute strangers to these children, right? We all are. We are strangers to these children, okay? There should be some sort of emotional detachment, right? That would be healthy for us, all of us, keeping healthy emotional detachment. I mean, that's what we do in day-to-day life. We keep some emotional detachment, right? You let go of that emotional detachment and this is what happens. The dramatics, the histrionics, the over-sensationalising things, the overreactions, the over-emotions, right? I've got to be the one that parades how much I love this child and care about finding this child the most. It's absolutely, it's like school kids covering it or something. It's insanity, absolute insanity. And I believe right at the top, right? Because where healthy people are that communicate clearly and that can communicate in a healthy way, right? There isn't drama, histrionics and fuckery. It doesn't exist. It's very slight that it shows up. And with clear communication, it can often be cleared up, right? Every single day with this, there is miscommunication, right? Histrionics and dramatics every single day. Do you know why? Because there's narcissistic people. It's narcissistic and toxic people that have all these kinds of behaviours. It isn't the behaviour of healthy human beings, period. You keep some emotional detachment, right? You keep some emotional grounding. You keep yourself grounded. You keep your emotions in check. You remain healthy. You're balanced. The self-discipline, right? Where is it? Where is it? Where's the humility? Where is the humility while you are dealing with child murder, murder in general, and missing children? Where? It's like it's become a competition of who cares most about Summerwells. Well, again, there's the narcissism, right? There's the narcissism. It has to be me that looks like I care the most about this missing child. It is like a competition. Who can find the next thing that we all need to discuss and talk about that in some way is going to help us find Summer? Right? Insane. Insane. Empaths and codependent type people are like uneducated empaths, right, that aren't educated in dark psychology, manipulation, right, and toxic and narcissistic behaviour, and codependent types, people pleasers, fixers, right, those that want to help everybody, they are easily fooled by words. They don't often check that actions match the words, right? They're fooled by words often. And I know, because I'm describing the old me. They're easily fooled by words like this when emotional types of conversation, constant emotional types of conversation should be your red flag. If every time you're going into a stream and it's about hyping people up and getting people upset, it's not just balanced and talking to you and telling you where we are today, you know, day 79 or whatever, this is what we're up to, right? Your red flag should be every single time you go to this chat, it has you hyped up or feeling a certain way, like hyper angry, right? Really annoyed with something, right? Really over upset, over frustrated, just over emotional, right? Where you're just like, I can't cope listening to this anymore because I've got trauma in my real life and this is affecting me, it's disturbing me. When you feel those types of things, that's when you need to get a boundary. They are the times to leave, right? Because it's becoming too much. That's healthy, right? To be able to recognize that and do something about it for yourself, right? And admit it to yourself. This is too much for me. It's not doing me any good, and move yourself away from it. That is someone with a good sense of self-awareness. They can recognize that what they're listening to or what they're watching is irking them up so much, right? Really affecting them. They're not keeping good emotional detachment, so they leave instead, right? Because all this emotional up and down, angry, upset, angry, upset, angry, upset, angry, upset, all that does is fuck with your nervous system like you wouldn't believe. You will feel the effects of it. And people that I've observed following this case, the people that aren't narcissistic and toxic, cluster B types, the people that aren't like that, they will suffer burnout. The narcissistic types will be able to keep going day after day after day because they feed off it. They're emotional vampires. They want everybody hyped up, right? They need that to live off. It fuels them, it feeds them, right? It gives them a life, it makes them feel amazing, okay? Hence their lives every single day, okay? They're getting the fix, if you will. That's literally what it's like. They feed off everybody's over emotions, writing in the chat, oh my God, I can't believe it. What have you heard today? Did you hear something today? What were they saying about this part of the thing? Did you find out about that? I can't believe she's still missing, right? The person at the top of that live stream, feeding off all of it. Nobody healthy is going through these cases at the rate they are emotionally and not suffering or feeling the effects and having some emotional burnout. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Right, last part. So they keep emotion running throughout the entire case. It's constantly playing on your emotions. Whereas if you go to other channels, like Miss Harlow, it's calm, right? It's tempered. It's balanced, it's disciplined. There's no over emotion. She explains it clearly. She gives you the facts, right? There's no insane dissecting of milk jugs. She gives you the facts, right? It's calm. You can listen to it, right, as you go about your business. Whereas when you're listening to these streams covering these cases, like they were for Cash Gurnan, and the same again for Summer Wells, and even the West Boys, and even in the Chris Watts case, if you check into a few of the channels covering Chris Watts, it's the same. It's about keeping you emotionally connected throughout the whole stream. It's so toxic, right? It is toxic because they're generating your emotions, and like I've tried to explain it, we shouldn't be up and down, up and down, up and down. It's not healthy, right? It's healthy to just, you know, for the most part, be calm. But if for the most part we're up and down, we are damaging our nervous system and we will feel the effects from that. It's toxic. It is not healthy. It's like when I keep hearing, oh my God, Tiffany Marie is so upset. She really cares. She's so upset. She's so upset. To me, that doesn't demonstrate genuine empathy, right? That is an example for me personally of cold empathy. It's just somebody saying how upset she seems, right? For me, it's a red flag, because why are you not keeping healthy boundaries? Why? boundaries protect you. So why do you not want to protect yourself, right? Because you've got a real life that you must cherish and enjoy, right? So not keeping emotional boundaries means that your real life gets affected, right? To such a degree. You're not sleeping. Your sleeping pattern's out of sync. Your whole life's in turmoil because you're so deeply invested in this case, right? That isn't a person that keeps healthy boundaries. The same with MGL when she's saying, I wanted to adopt Carter Gernon, the twin of Cash, right? I want to adopt them. Oh my God, I love that child so much. I love that child so much, right? Again, with the over-emotional reactions and feelings. Everything's histrionic and blown up and huge, right? You watch healthy human beings when they cry or when they show emotion, right? It's not, you don't see great big highs. Like, if you just feel sad, it's like, I just feel shit, right? I just feel shit. Really upset, right? That would be healthy. This is kind of how they do it. I'm just so upset. This is all just wrong. I just can't cope with it anymore. This is not right. This is just not right. What can we do? What do we need to do? I don't know what to do next. There you go with your example, right? Healthy human beings aren't doing that even when they're upset, right? You watch a normal person cry or show emotion. There's not all this great big pantomime display. These are your red flags to look for, right? When someone's angry or pissed off, they can be, do you know what? I'm fucking pissed off. I'm absolutely fucking pissed off. I'm just so pissed off with this, right? Whereas when they're showing you pissed off, it's, I'm just so pissed off. This isn't right. That isn't right. Everything's wrong. MGL screaming at people through the camera on a live stream. All of these types of behaviour that you're seeing, they're your red flags. It doesn't display at all somebody that has genuine empathy for a case of a missing child or a murdered child. That would be an example of cold empathy. It's just cold empathy. It doesn't show or prove you nothing, right? The evidence of empathy within people, you see over a period of time. And you know when you see it by accident, right? But narcissistic types of people, cluster B types of personalities, they're about the over display, right? Because they're pretending to be like the rest of us, right? But they get the pretending wrong, the mirroring wrong, right? Everything's over the top, right? They have to shout about what emotion they're feeling. I'm just so sad. I'm just gutted. I just can't believe it. It's just not right. You know, you get all of that, the histrionics. Where if it's a healthy person upset, it's rare that you will see them flip out to that degree. But with these people that we're watching, right, and I don't just mean these two that I've named, there's plenty of them, right? See for yourselves. You'll, like, I think I've outlined enough so that you can tell the difference between healthy people covering the case and toxic people covering the case. I was going to touch on something then, and it just absolutely went out of my mind. Right, so I'll just go back to the cold empathy aspect. Oh, it was about mirroring, right? But I'll just go back to this cold empathy aspect. When we say, oh my God, I love that so much, right? Or, oh, look at my dog, it's so cute. They're not displays of genuine empathy. But uneducated people, right, as we all are, because I was like this too until I started learning and, you know, reading and studying things like this about human behaviour. We mistake those acts to mean that this person has empathy, right? The same way when we know that somebody works in a nursing home looking after the elderly or people with dementia, right? We go on to naturally assume that person must be a caring person, right? Not necessarily so. None of those types of things demonstrate that the person you are around isn't a sociopath, isn't a narcissist, isn't a psychopath. They are demonstrations of cold empathy. They prove nothing, right? You see genuine empathy over a period of time, and you often see it by accident. So I'm just going to finish this and I'll go back to the mirroring. Me personally, I suggest people stay away from over-emotional creators. It doesn't demonstrate empathy at all, but somebody unbalanced who doesn't keep boundaries, right? Stop looking up to YouTubers. I made a post on this just yesterday. I was in a bad mood about it, right? Stop looking up to YouTubers. Stop idealising them and believing them to be great people, right? Stop needing a place to belong on the internet to the point where you'll ignore toxic behaviour just so you have a place to belong. Be true to yourself. Stop giving all these narcissistic, toxic types of people all your attention and all your support, because especially if we've got people pleaser or fixer codependent nature, right? We pour everything we have into the person that we're trying to please, right? Into the person that we're trying to have a connection with. We overpour all of ourselves into that person. We give our everything to the relationships that we keep around us, right? It's not healthy. You've got to pull back and keep boundaries, right? Stop over idealizing and love bombing on these creators, because you'll be duped. Right? Stop falling for charming behaviour and believing that charming behaviour means that they're a good person. Charming behaviour isn't a personality trait. It's something that we all put on, right? You can put it on for the camera to give yourself a good kind of camera presence so that the people watching can connect with you, right? That's using charm and charisma, okay? But narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths, they are excellent at continuing the charming behaviour to suck you in, right? And suck you in their doom. They are amazing manipulators and you fall for it. So stop looking up to YouTubers. Just stop, right? They're not perfect people. You cannot be that desperately in need of a place to hang that you will put up with toxic behaviour. I watch people do it with Katie, right? I knew half of those people would not put up with that behaviour in real life or even accept it from their own children. I watched them do it for Katie, right? Ignore the toxicity. I've watched them do it with Diane. I've watched them do it with other YouTubers, right? And now with this trauma drama, it's the same thing again, right? Idealising and love bombing YouTubers simply because they're covering a case and showing an over display of emotion 24/7. It's insanity. It doesn't mean anything about being a good person. If anything, it shows how unbalanced they are and how obsessed and fixated on this that they are, that they can't keep good boundaries and mental distance. That's just me though. So I'll touch on the mirroring, right? Another thing about another like pro tip, right? Pro tip about spotting a narcissist is, right, the mirror. So we know that they mirror our behaviour to emulate us, right? So that we fall for them, right? They pretend to be us and dupe us into falling for them, right? So this mirroring, right? Say like if you went to someone, or say like if you saw your partner messaging a girl, right? And your first reaction was, what the fuck are you doing? Right? A narcissist would respond with, what do you mean? What the fuck am I doing? What the fuck are you doing? You're fucking always going off at me, fucking drama queen. I'm not fucking doing anything. What's your fucking problem? Right? That's a narcissistic response. A healthy partner, this is what they'd say, right? You'd say, what the fuck are you doing? Who are you messaging? Right? I didn't know you knew this person. A healthy boyfriend or partner, girlfriend, would respond and say, what? What do you mean? What we're doing? I'm not doing anything. Here, look. I'm not doing anything. Just messaging this person I know her from work. She's just asked me about bringing in a file for tomorrow. Right? That's what a healthy person would do. The narcissist mirrors even your anger. Right? So if you go to them and you're like, I can't fucking believe you just did that. You just broke my favourite thing or whatever. Right? They will match your behaviour, your mood, right? So like, it wasn't my fucking fault. You're always fucking going off at me. For fuck's sake, oh, I'm fucking off away from this. I'm going out, right? They're the type of responses you will get with narcissists. Whereas a healthy person, they'll just respond, right? But the narcissist, right, because they're always having to grandstand, they're always having to posture, they're better and bigger and bolder, right? And they're just better than you in every way, okay? So they can't have it that you come to them and say something like that. They have to match it or double it, right? Bring it, give you double force. So whereas a healthy partner would say, hang on, what you speaking to me like that for? What do you mean what we're doing? I'm not doing anything. Here's my phone. That's a healthy partner. A narcissist will match your tone. They'll mirror it, right? Because again, they're pretending to be a normal person and they aren't. I'm going to close it off here. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was a rant or if you disagree. You're free to in the comment section. You can share a different opinion. This is only mine. It doesn't mean it's fact. It doesn't mean that everybody has to agree with me. It's just simply a perception, okay? It's how I see things. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Hit the like or dislike. Either is fine. And for now, love lots. And until next time, bye for now.